So here we are at the HUFF protest at the police department on the corner of Center and Laurel on December, I think it's whatever day, we haven't determined what day, but it's Wednesday. So on the protest on Ferguson was last Saturday, and that was the 13th, so I'll count it up sometime. But in any case, we're here and we're interviewing Stephen Argue again, and he's going to talk more about, he's going to bring us up to the present day and how his experiences from the past give him a special perspective on what's happening now. So Stephen, let's zoom in on you a little, come in a little closer and let you speak to the well, why don't you start where you want to start? I'm going to give you the option to start and speak in what you have to say.
Okay, I'm not sure where I'm...
Well, can you start with Ferguson and how that fits in with what's happening today in Santa Cruz and how then tie it into your experiences?
Okay, Ferguson, yeah. Well, in Ferguson, what we're seeing is the status quo.
But would you call that fascism? Would you call it Nazism? What are we seeing?
No. Fascism is something. Leon Trotsky described fascism very well in Fascism and what it is and how to fight it as a mass movement that takes power with the backing of the capitalist class.
Would you agree that what we have is inverted totalitarianism?
All discussion in society.
Okay, but would you agree that we have is what Chris Hedges calls inverted totalitarianism?
What we have is the normal functioning of a democratic democratic bourgeois society.
Right. Okay.
Where the working class doesn't have power.
So they have the vote, but they have no representation in the decision making.
We have a little bit. We have a little bit, but it's
a veneer,
small.
basically.
Very small.
Okay.
Basically, it's a dictatorship of the wealthy.
Of the people who have money and influence.
Right.
So basically, the government has been there's a coup that's gone on where the 1% or the 0.5%.
No, I don't think there's been a coup. Well,
really?
sort of. I mean, there have been coups. Kennedy's assassination was a coup. There was a lot of people speak in terms of the two faux elections of Bush, which were done with electoral fraud as being coups. You could see it that way. But
would you say at this point it doesn't really matter who's elected because Obama was elected on the platform of hope and change, and he turned out to be just as bad or worse than George W. Bush?
I've never voted for a Democrat or Republican.
Who do you vote for?
I vote socialist whenever.
Okay, so anyways, can you bring us back?
None of the above.
I know, me too. I never voted for Obama, so I'm not complicit in his election. I told all my friends in 2008. I said he's going to break every promise he's made to you, and they told me, "Oh, you got Bush elected by voting for Nader in 2000," which I didn't actually do. I voted for Gore, but they were all really mad at me. And then a couple of years later, said, "You know, John, we're sorry. You were right. He did break all the promises, and now we wouldn't vote for Obama."
All right. Well, you want my perspective as someone who's been around for a while. This is something we see every few years. We have these Republicans in office that are absolutely terrible,
like Cheney and Bush.
Yeah, and then people get so disgusted they're willing to
vote in supposed change.
They're willing to vote for anybody.
Right.
Vote the Democrats.
Do you think they'd be willing to vote for Hillary?
They have. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
So, you know, so they vote for anybody. They vote for these terrible Democrats.
But basically, Obama purposely branded himself.
The same cycle.
What I'm saying,
people get tired of the Democrats too,
and they vote the Republicans in.
And then they get most of the working class gets disillusioned. They stop voting, and then the Republicans get voted.
I see. So basically,
this last election, what it was not the popularity of the Republicans. It was
against the Democrats.
It's just the fact that people are fed up with both parties.
Right, and also they were fed up with the Democrats because Obama didn't basically do anything for his supposed base of progressives.
This is what I'm saying.
So he basically campaigned that I'm going to serve my base and all these progressive principles, and then he got in and all he served with the people who were funding him, which were the 1%, and he didn't do anything for the 99% really like he promised, so they got disillusioned.
And any revolutionary socialist knew he was going to do that. We warned people.
And even though I wouldn't characterize myself as a revolutionary socialist, although I do support socialism in some manner, but I would say that basically Obama, I predicted the same thing without an ideological basis.
It's Aaron Whiting, John.
That's Aaron Whiting? Let me zoom in.
Hey, your little girl's cute.
Oh, there goes Aaron Whiting.
He was filming us.
He was filming us?
Yeah,
He was filming us. Yeah.
Wait, where is he?
He's in the white car.
Oh, that's out of focus. I zoomed in. So he was filming us? So wait. Let me zoom out. So Patricia, can you state what happened? What time is it?
He came by filming us this way, and then he turned
Did you get his license plate?
No, but I knew it was
What kind of
him.
car was it? What was the make?
It was, I don't know, it was a big white truck.
Was it a city
white
truck?
cab.
Wasn't it a city vehicle?
No. He just, take back spin.
Was it a video camera or a still camera?
It was a video.
Okay, I want to get back to Steve and argue, so
Yeah,
I'll
they've
get
been
back.
told not to walk up and take our picture.
Right, they've been harassing us. Take back Santa Cruz.
They just did it right
No,
I know, but they've
they're
been
not walking.
physically harassing us. Jim Springs.
Driving
Jim
up is
Spring.
pretty much the same
Yeah, I'll
thing as
call
walking
in
up.
on
Well, Jim Spring tried to start a fight with me outside the city council chambers. He tried to bully me and start a fight, and then Sergeant Bush came out, and Jim Spring disappeared, and suddenly Sergeant Bush didn't know what Jim Spring looked like. And I called it in later. We've called in several incidents where Take Back Santa Cruz members have been threatening and harassing us to get them ramping up the physical violence because we're seen as threats to Take Back Santa Cruz. And Alicia Cube threatened that she was going to sue me for slandering her because other person on the Sentinel comments was saying that Dexter Cube was a corporate criminal, and she said to this Paul Mendoza, I don't know who this Paul Mendoza is, she said, Don Colby, you've been stalking Take Back Santa Cruz and Take Back Santa Cruz members, and now I have what I need. You just said something in writing. This person basically saying that Dexter Cube was a corporate criminal. She said, I'm gonna get a lawyer and we're gonna sue you. So I called the police department about that, and it never happened. So, but she had no, legitimate thing because it wasn't me. If they looked at this person's IP address, it wasn't gonna be my IP address. So, but that's how whack they are with Take Back Santa Cruz and us. Okay, go on, Steve.
Maybe we can do more interviews.
Okay, but can you just give us another minute or two of what you were saying? I really want to get, I don't want to stop there.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt it with Aaron Whiting.
No, that's fine. So, okay, we're talking about Ferguson, right?
Well, you were talking about putting Ferguson in perspective of the state, and we were actually talking to Obama and how the Trotskyist socialite said that how Trotsky said this is a normal historical kind of effect of what happens. How you have these terrible Republicans, and then you have the response.
No, Trotsky never said that.
Well, you were, but you were
said
okay. You said that. Okay.
I'd like to hear more, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically good cop, bad cop. That's how they run the system.
Who plays the good cop, bad cop?
Well, supposedly the Democrats are the good cops.
Right. Obama's the good cop. He cares.
But basically, they're both there against us,
because they both serve the corporates.
Right. So that's part of what I'm saying about this cycle. They get people to vote for one party.
Do you think they plan it that way? That the Republicans know they switch teams every so while, but it's a tag team kind of effort?
Well, the people really in charge, the big capitalists, plan it that way.
Right.
That's why they fund both.
And
parties.
so the parties are basically just the puppets, and the people with the money are the puppet masters.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have anything to add to that? So we kind of talked about Obama. Now, how does Ferguson and the police abuse fit into that whole thing of the Democrats and the Republicans?
Well, it fits in several ways. One of which is, you look at Ferguson. The mayor of Ferguson is a Democrat.
And he's white.
And I don't know. He doesn't look completely white.
Really? Okay. Maybe I don't know.
But it's close.
But the police force is almost overwhelmingly white. I don't think they have one black officer.
I don't know exactly. You can have black officers,
but it doesn't matter.
That carry out oppression.
And you can have Latino officers who do the same thing.
And I have self-hate and don't really.
Right. Because once they're in the system, they're part of the system.
Right.
Okay, go on.
Basically, right now you have the Democrats trying to tone everything down. And
well, what do you mean tone it down?
Tone it down, saying, hey, this isn't the proper way to do it. Basically, trying to funnel the righteous anger in the streets into supporting.
So they're trying to co-opt the movement
and into pushing for these minor reforms. They're talking
like the
about.
Cameras, the so-called body cams,
like Obama's 75 million or whatever it is before cameras. He just
right, and he's not sticking the U.S. DOJ to prosecute all these police murders, but the Civil Rights Division isn't investigating these people.
Well, there are some investigations going on.
But I mean, there should be systemic ones.
A lot of it doesn't go anywhere.
But I mean, I'm saying
it's a way of.
Okay, can I just interrupt you? I just wanted to say that there's so many of them happening that to keep count of them all, there should be mass investigations and prosecutions of hundreds of these people.
Oh, sure. I mean, if not thousands, probably.
Right. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Probably tens of thousands.
Really, that many?
I mean, yeah. I mean, in terms of not just murders, but I mean, beatings, frame-ups.
Would you talk about things like the Rampart Division and the Burgess in Chicago?
I mean, occasionally these things get exposed, as with Ramparts in L.A., the Philadelphia police.
What happened in Philadelphia?
They were exposed as commanding police were. Commanding officers were actually part of the mob. They were
part of the mob? They were answering the mob?
Part of the mob. They were planting evidence on people. They were brutalizing people. They were killing people.
How big was this? I mean, was it in the news?
It was very big. I mean, it was part of what got Mumia Abu-Jamal framed up, and he's still sitting in prison.
So was this in the media?
Well, not so much. I mean, actually,
because I'd like to seek it out.
Parts of it were. I mean, as a result of these things being exposed, hundreds of convictions were overturned.
Wow.
But those included the police officers that framed up Mumia Abu-Jamal. But because Mumia's case is so politically charged,
they're not going to do anything about it.
They're not doing anything about his, but they overturned all these other cases
because he's a big fish, and they're not going to back down on him.
They want him in prison still,
and they're going to keep him in prison forever.
Right. Because they have a lot invested.
So, do you know about the stuff with Burgess, with that officer in Chicago who had basically a torture operation going on?
Burgess, no.
Burgess. Well, you might want to look that up. Google Burgess in Chicago PD. He was running a torture operation inside the Chicago. Yeah, you're aware of that. Yeah. Right. And basically, that never really. He got off with a slap on the wrist.
Right.
And they were actually torturing these prisoners who were detained at the police station. I mean, really egregious stuff. Really, stuff right out of Abu Ghraib, and as bad as that or worse.
There's a big connection there too, because I mean, some of these cops that were these cops here are actually were some of the soldiers over there.
So they basically were trained how to do this in the military.
I don't know exactly. I mean, no. Some of this predated a lot of what they.
Okay, but basically, what I'm. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to mischaracterize.
There's so much going on in terms of what's allowed and the impunity with which they do it.
So it's really complex.
The fact that they get promoted when they do it.
Promoted in the police department.
And the fact that they are also trained to do it at times.
Trained by the police or trained by the military?
Trained by the military, and who knows who else?
Right. Okay.
It's like we don't know how they're operating.
So it runs really deep, you're saying?
Oh, of course.
Really?
I mean, for them to consistently get away with murder is getting away. I mean,
so it's like a racket, basically. It's racketeering. It should be prosecuted under the RICO Act. It should be if they were going to really prosecute it.
I mean, yeah, but that assumes that we get any justice in the capitalist courts, which we don't.
But it's not just the courts. It's not what I'm saying. It's the investigation.
The RICO Act is in the capitalist courts.
But what I'm saying is it's not even investigated. I'm saying it's not even investigated. It's not just prosecution.
Very rarely. And it's only investigated in certain cases where things are already exposed.
Right, where they can't deny it.
Right. In general, yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, the involvement with the mob. I mean, look at these cases in Boston where the FBI was.
This was in Boston.
In Boston, where the FBI.
What year was this around?
Oh, in the 70s, 80s. The FBI was actually working with the mob there.
The FBI or the police?
The FBI was.
They were working with the mob?
With the mob.
So basically the investigatory agents, the federal law enforcement agency, which is supposed to be investigating the mob, was working with them? And was this exposed by the media?
It's been exposed.
So it's actually out there in the public record?
Exposed. There's eyewitnesses to it that were speaking out that have been killed in the last couple of years. Actually.
Oh, they're disappearing as it goes to court?
Well, right as it was going to court, one important witness was murdered.
So this runs way deeper than I really realized. I didn't realize it was this bad.
I mean, they'll work with any kind of.
Can you frame that in the Santa Cruz Police Department? What you think is happening with Santa Cruz and what the Santa Cruz Police Department is capable of?
Well, okay, so I guess we kind of went off on it.
Yeah. But this is okay. It was really interesting.
But I have nothing that I can prove about it, but I have.
Well, just tell us what you think.
I have some information of some of the local police working with some local criminal elements, but I can't prove any.
Okay,
so
well maybe you don't want to talk about that because you don't want to endanger yourself.
No, I mean just in terms of. I like to be able to prove anything.
Right, unless you can you have evidence, you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to say that you don't have any credibility.
So I think that's going on, but I can't prove it.
Right. Well, is there anything that I should do FOIA requests about to look into this? Or names or anything of people to look at?
I could look up some information.
Can you email that to me privately?
Yeah.
And I'll do some FOIA requests about that stuff?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because if you direct me in the right direction, I'll do the investigations and pass it to the media.
Right. See, I think it's been investigated a little bit.
But was it really
dangerous things?
I'm already put myself in danger.
That have been talking about some of this.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
How many?
Well, one person I know about.
Right. Okay. So, do you think that you're a target of police violence?
I've been a target.
What have they done to you?
But it's for my politics, not for anything.
Right. But how intense has it been for you?
Oh, it's been terrible.
I mean, have they beat you up? Have they threatened to kill you?
I've been arrested and beaten and false charges.
And what was the most recent case?
Well, more of it's what's happened. Nothing's happened. Nothing much has happened recently.
Because you haven't really been as active in local politics.
I haven't been as active as I think.
So does this go back to the killing of that man on Pacific, where it supposedly pulled a toy gun and they killed him in broad daylight?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Stephen, I really have to interview some other people, but we're going to interview you at length, at your house or something where we can have a long talk.
Okay.
Because you're a font of knowledge, and I think that you have a lot of stuff to say that people aren't hearing. And the new activists who are coming into the movement, they really need to know all this. So thank you for basically opening the door here into opening the door into what is going on.
Okay,
thank you very much.